All right. Hey, it's Karen Wright, your Wichita real estate agent. And today I'm looking to start going live, hopefully on a regular basis. I'm still trying to figure out which time, which day to go, just to kind of do market updates each week, kind of see where inflation is and what's happening with boots on the ground in the marketplace. So today I did want to go over and focus on the WSU information we received, Wichita State University, Stan Longhofer. We did they've got these booklets, first of all. This is for Wichita specific. So I wanted to go over this as well as the presentation. Some of it's on economics. Not my strong suit, but we'll go over the economics. I'll do some of the highlights of those slides and then go into the Wichita forecasting for the end of this year and next year. So I wanted to make this more Wichita specific, where I know the other live I did, I started off on a lot of the economics from the National Association of Realtors. And so with that, let's just kind of jump into it. I'm going to present. And we'll get to, here we go. So this is I got to get back to the first slide. Oh. Okay, so here, okay, this is not the beginning of it. So here we go. Let's just, so Dr. Stanley Longhofer is the one from Barton School of Business that put this presentation together. And this is, again, 2023 forecast to see what they are predicting at this point. This is maybe a few weeks old at this point. So take that in consideration with especially with inflation and mortgage rates as they're going. So are we in a recession? Let's see, we're looking at the last 22 years on this slide. Like I said, I'm going to kind of go skip some of these slides in the beginning. As it is his presentation, I want to kind of get further in where it's talking about Wichita housing market. But are we in a recession? And they kind of said, we don't know if we're in a recession until down the road they look back and say, are we in a recession? I will say Dr. Lawrence Yoon with the National Association of Realtors, he's the economist. I'll be talking about him a lot, even though this person that is Stan Longhofer with the WSU real estate department is the one that put this presentation, but they kind of go hand in hand. And a lot of times they do these presentations at the same time. But he pretty much says in definition, we're in a recession, but it's a weird recession. It's not a hardcore recession at this point. And the outlook is looking pretty decent, as you'll see as we go further into these slides. So this one, total non-farm employment in Kansas has not recovered from the pandemic. So here we're looking at zero, drop down, of course, with COVID, then slowly starts creeping back up. And they're talking about the non-farm employment. And as we can see, the U.S. is doing a little better than Wichita. U.S. is in the green. Wichita is in the yellow, and then Kansas as a state is in the purple. So we still got a little ways to go to get back up to pre-COVID time period. Unemployment rates are near historic lows. And this is interesting. When Dr. Lawrence Yoon was talking about it, he says it's interesting the fact that there's a lot of jobs available and they need more people to take these jobs. And so hence obviously it's skyrocketed during COVID and it's coming back down. So, which at least is great. There's a lot of jobs out there that people can get. Funny enough, I do see in Wichita, there seems to be a lot of more homeless people. And that's just for me. I'm not talking about any stats or anything. I'm talking about, I run a lot at the river, the Arkansas River. And, they're starting to put a lot of tents up there. And in the Delano neighborhood, just seems there'll be a lot more homeless, which is interesting because you looking at this graph where it's showing unemployment rates are at near historic lows. Another interesting thing I find is on the loan side, they're talking about gig employment nowadays, like the YouTube employment and all the other different self-employment type income streams that are out there. So that'll be for a future conversation. But was just talking about that from my loan origination side, since I'm a loan originator with Nexa Mortgage. So anyways, that's telling you about, on a great note, employment rates are low. Here's the Wichita employment forecast. All the green is actually what's happened. Here we are, we're at the very end of 2022. So we've got November 9th today. So forecast is looking decent. We're still creeping back up there from the, here we are in COVID year. And again, that's just showing this. So this is the prediction. So again, prediction is looking in the area that we want. That's the Kansas Department of Labor. So again, the forecast is looking good. I'm going to skip that one. Just an overview from 1960 of inflation, up and down, but really we care about this side. And of course, inflation is, you got 2020, it was down, and then of course skyrocketing up. And of course, they're trying to manage it at this point, and it keeps seeing the Feds keep increasing rates as they just did. And they're just trying to, get the inflation to stop. And that's kind of that. Mortgage rates and inflation. So the inflation is in the green, and the 30-year fixed mortgage rate is in the purple. So inflation's creeping up, but mortgage rates are, still staying pretty decent. We'll go into more of that in a future slide. Inflation expectations. So bottom line from this graph, what they're saying is that the 5-year break-even rate is on the lower side. And even though we're seeing inflation going way up here, what Stan Longhofer was stating that, hey, but on the good note is this is what we really try to focus on, is this orange 5-year break-even rate. And it's still looking in a positive direction, which what people want to see as far as predicting the future. So again, just these are from the experts. Here is the mortgage rate forecast. So you got 30-year fixed rate, the 5-1 ARM. But the important thing on this graph to look at is, and the takeaway is the MBA forecast, Mortgage Bankers Association, is that they are predicting, even though we're up here, and of course, since this slide has happened, we jumped up a little bit more in an interest rate. But their prediction is, again, looking to go on the downside. So that is, again, from the experts who monitor this daily, hourly. Now to Wichita home sales activity. These are the numbers that we have. And I do have a cool graph. I'm going to, it's not on here. I'm going to have to pull it up. That gives some more details later on. But so home sales activity, as you can see, right here at the downward arrow, that was during the housing crash at the 08, 09, 10, and it starts ramping back up. And then of course spikes up here in 20 after they spikes down a little bit, 2020 for COVID. And then it's getting back up to the higher moving average, and then starts creeping back down. But that's more basically from a supply and demand. But we have the buyers, we just don't have the inventory. And what I see as far as boots on the ground as a real estate agent is buyers are choosing to rent instead of just picking up something that they don't really love. So if it's not the house they want, even though the house is on the market, they are kind of choosing to hold it out a little bit. And of course, right now, interest rates have increased from this graph, have gone up. We're about 7.3-ish as of yesterday. I think I haven't seen today's rate yet for one particular company, but so in the sevens. And but yeah, this is kind of a supply demand issue, which is why it's going back down, because there's still plenty of buyers out there that are wanting it. Now, with the interest rates rising, yes, buyers are sitting on the sidelines a little bit more for sure right now. Days on market, we're going to get the updated press release to get October's numbers within this next week, I believe, for Wichita from the Real Estate Association for South Central Kansas. So I'm curious to see what the days on market, because we're definitely seeing houses sitting and taking much longer to go under contract. Wichita home sales forecast, all the green is the actual and forecasting. And like I said, we've got 2 months left here. And so last year, good number of sales increased from 2020, huge amount last year, and then kind of creeping down a little bit. So going down in home sales this year, especially this Q4 4, October, November, December. We're seeing a drastic cut. Obviously, in the summertime this year and the peak activity, we were seeing, the 10, 20, 30K over asking as the norm, multiple offers. And now the last couple months of this, we're seeing things sit on the market longer with inflation and interest rates in the sevens. So people that have been looking for the past year, having a hard time getting an offer accepted, their payments have increased dramatically with the interest rates increasing. So, and then, but on a positive, looks like the next year should be fairly stable as well. And again, a lot of this is somewhat inventory. We just need more we believe with more inventory, we would have seen more sales for this year specifically. And on a good segue, active listings were too low even prior to the pandemic. So we're looking at just listings going down. I mean, just to where that's why it's bringing the pricing up so much in the inflation. So we're desperate for housing. Builders are trying to move. A couple slides coming up about building. So here's just the moving average, active listings, peaked, and right now listings are coming. They have been the last. I'm just going off personal experience right now. Have been coming back. We're over 1,000 on active listings for a few months. In the summer, we were below 1,000 by a good deal, hundreds below 1,000, like 500, 600, 700, which I'll show you in a different chart here. So active, but here they're saying this chart kind of shows active listings were too low prior to the pandemic. So pandemic is right about here, 2020. They were still going the downward trajectory. So which made this inflation and these really high prices homes due to just such low inventory, which we're now trying to make up for. We'll see the building permits coming up shortly. This kind of shows a fraction of basically when houses are discounted. You can see a lot of up and downs, but here at the end, it's going up now down here, but it's going up now just due to the low inventory. And with inflation, the prices, we're having to price things not where they sold for earlier this year because they went multiple offers and over asking by a lot. And so now with the interest rates where they're at, houses are getting discounted a good deal right now. We're seeing a lot of price drops where, of course, we weren't seeing that. Everything was going over asking multiple offers. Not everything, but we're talking majority, averages. Okay, median days on market in Wichita. So that's this one I'm really curious to see what next month is. I think it was 4, last month was 6 days on market. And so now, again, we should be getting that number in this next week for Wichita specific and South Central Kansas specific. But you can just see very few days on market. 3 was the majority of throughout the year when I was doing the market. I do the monthly market updates on YouTube and on my weekly emails, and it usually was 3, and now like I said, we're at 4, and then last number was at 6 for September, but here it's just showing you that things are going lickety split house sales. So even as the demand is softening right now, it's remaining a seller's market. Just we don't have enough houses on the market. So it's still a seller's market, but the buyers are just sitting, just not wanting to pay 7% after we had the great 2s and 3 interest rates. So Wichita, you see here on the bottom, U.S. up. So Wichita, you can see we have being at the bottom, we have, very few houses. The month supply, I think we are at a month supply and a 1.2 month supply as of recently, where in the heyday of this summer season, we were saying a 0.5, so like a half month supply, 0.6. So just again, really low inventories is the point, which we're kind of seeing. Annual home appreciation, of course, we've seen the spike up here just due to lack of inventory. And we've got Wichita in the yellow. So appreciation for the U.S. was even higher, about 20%. And then here we're at Wichita. Again, we've all seen these homes just keep appreciating, which we're going to probably start seeing a downturn, but experts are still saying we're going to see this. It's still looking to appreciate. The question I get with buyers and people talking to me about real estate in Wichita is, oh, the market's going to tank. The market's going to be underwater in your houses. And that's what hopefully this presentation is getting to show you. And of course, the slides coming up, which will show this. But what's going to happen? Because it's appreciating so much, is it going to just fall? And that's what we're trying to do. So obviously, we see here that appreciation has continued, and the next couple months will be pretty telling. Although, of course, we're getting into our slower season. Home appreciation forecast. So here's the forecast past this year. So 2021 was last year. We've got 2 months left to go here. So it's pacing just lower than last year from appreciation. So still, but then, so from the positive, the question to people that ask me, well, is the housing market going to crash? Are we going to be underwater in all our houses? But the market, and this is Wichita, is stating it's still going to be 4.7% appreciation next year is what the forecast is. I have also presented in other videos the U.S. national housing forecast, and I'm getting a 2.3% appreciation in that. 6 of the big players, Zillow, NAR, all said that they're expecting, 5 of them have said they're expecting appreciation. Only 1 said they're expecting depreciation, Zeller. So when they averaged all those players out, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, NAR, National Association of Realtors, they came up with the average of 2.3%. So that's a little lower, but then in Wichita, they're saying the forecast is 4.7%. So it's saying houses will still continue to appreciate. So those who the doomsdayers saying, oh no, it's not going to be ridiculous what it was, but it is still going to. So if you're buying a house, keep that in mind. Here's the new home construction we're talking about. Obviously, we see the complete fall, which is why there's so low inventory. And 2020 started to increase some of the inventory, and that's continuing. We'll get to another slide talking about how many permits. Permits, again, just there, we're making up for this complete decrease in building new homes. And we're starting to, with the low inventory, creep back up. Builders are working hard to get as many houses built as possible. Hopefully the quality is not suffering due to it. And that's why construction workers are in huge demand right now from an economy standpoint. Now, this is a different stat that is also affecting the housing. We had a lot of, between 2 and 6, 2 and 6.5 people per household. As you can see, fewer, more people are living on their own, and just the household sizes are getting smaller. So again, that's requiring more inventory. It's not helping the lack of inventory. It's needing even more inventory. And here's the new construction forecast. And this is sales. So looks like 20, just kind of, it's increasing and increasing. They're still trying to make up for that 10-year decline of building new houses and new construction, or whether it's apartment buildings, condos. So we see the forecast that this being this year up to 5.2%, and then next year a little bit higher as well, and that's for Wichita. And these numbers they get from the Wichita Area Builders Association, which are all the builders in town are connected with this association. So again, this is for Wichita specific. So going in the right direction. And okay, so the basic bottom line is this is like, again, the 4.7 is the number that, again, I get the most questions asked about. Is the house going to appreciate or depreciate? So we're still seeing a positive. We're still seeing a plus. We're not seeing a minus. So if you think, oh, I'm going to buy a house now, and you think it's going to start going down next year, depreciating, then it's going to be like, no, you don't want to buy a house now. But it's still appreciating is what the forecasting is saying. Here's the building permits. And we didn't have a builder on one of the panels when they did this presentation. And he said that they were feeling it. He said we're ramping up so fast, and I mean, that's usually not the best of things because you want to get your processes and employees, kind of a slow growth is usually a bit better, but they're feeling it. And again, my only question is hopefully the quantity versus quality. Hopefully the quality staying up there, but some beautiful houses are definitely getting built, and apartment complexes and such. And so again, this just kind of goes back to, 1,570 units is what they're expecting for next year. 1,530 is what they're expecting by the end of this year, permits. So, permits keep increasing, just showing you they're building more and building more. Appreciation still looks like it will appreciate, not depreciate. That's a good note. And total home sales, we looked at some of these earlier. So this is a big slide. And let's see, we got two more. And okay, and then basically thanks to Ameritrust Security first. And let me stop sharing this one. And I did want to present, let's see. This is, hold on a second, it takes a minute to, okay, I think here, let's go to this one. This is the booklet that I just showed you. So this, I have printouts of this. If anybody wants this, reach out to me. We've got a full box load here at the office. Oops, that's Zoom. And again, just showing some more details. Wichita, and this is a couple months old, I'm going to say, because it's a printed version. Because it's saying during the first half of the year, a 30-year fixed mortgage was between 5.5. Struggled to assess how the Fed policy will affect inflation and economic growth. And of course, we're several months down the road at this point, and of course, inflation keeps going up, and so do the mortgage rates. And so forecast mortgage rates will fall to 4.9 by the end of the year. So I think we're past that. Okay, we looked at the unemployment change since January. Obviously, it's creeping back. We looked at both of those already in the presentation. Although rising mortgage rates have softened demand from earlier in the year, the real constraint on the market remains the lack of inventory. And that's kind of what's interesting is that's what I'm seeing a lot of. It's just that lack of inventory. That's why we had the multiple offers going over asking. We expect Wichita area home sales will end the year down 4 points at 11,560 units. Sales will rebound slightly in 2023, ending the year up 0.7%, 11,600 units. And then they go on to say, after a decade of building roughly 1,000 new homes a year, single family permitting activity rose sharply in 2020. It now appears that 1,500 units is the new normal for the market. So it looks like they were doing 1,000, but of course we saw earlier with the decrease in that, we're looking 1,500 is permits, and then I think 1,530 new single, an increase of 5.2%. So again, that's good news. They are building like crazy. Home prices, so homes available for sale. Of course, we've seen this down. Hence the so in here they're saying that even though this seems like the explosion in home prices was due to the pandemic, in reality it was caused by supply problems that have been building for years. In fact, there were less than half as many homes available for sale in the beginning of 2020 than there were in 2011. And again, I'm going to show you a spreadsheet, which it gives this more in detail. As a result, Wichita has had less than 4 months supply of homes available for sale. And a lot of times we say, we're looking at the median numbers. And so really it's been under a month available for sale this past year. Right now we're at 1.2 months is the last stat that I've heard. Even if there is a significant softening in demand due to higher mortgage rates, it will take a long time for Wichita to return to a balanced market. So that's not the best of news, but hey, they're working at getting more housing built. The frenzied demand that characterized the market through the early part of this year appears to have eased, thank goodness. Nevertheless, extremely tight inventories will continue to put upward pressure on home prices. We still see that, although the interest rates have definitely curbed the buyers. We project that Wichita area home values will end the year up 12.9% before slowing to a more normal, but still strong appreciation rate of 4.7%, and that's for next year, like we've seen. And this is Kansas forecast, not necessarily Wichita. Home sales have declined the year across most of the state. This was true even before the recent rise in mortgage rates began to soften demand. And we're definitely seeing a softer demand with buyers sitting longer and houses staying on the market longer currently. And I'm talking about personal experience right now. And this really just kind of goes into Kansas, so I won't really go into much detail. Here's a cool graph that I like. You got Wichita here on the bottom. Again, I have this available if you would like me to send it to you or PDF screenshot it, anything like that. But let's look at Wichita. And in the purple section here, you got the forecast, 2022. But my favorite number is 4.7%, so it's going to continue to appreciate. Houses are going to increase, more sold as we get some more on inventory. And then this kind of shows you the last 4 years right here as far as home sales. They definitely kept increasing, with it kind of decreasing now in 2022 and 2023 with prices going pretty high and interest rates. Building permits you're seeing starting at $993, $1,000, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500, $15-ish. Home price appreciation 3.3, 4.8, 7.7, 4.6. And then sales kept increasing because houses were costing a lot more. And then the average price, $165,000, $174,000, $193,000, $215,000. So again, so yeah, I can definitely share this information and want to bring, not that, okay, so it's on a different page. This is just something I check out, 7.3. This I can, here, let me share this screen. This is the press release for October. These are some of the details I was sharing. So this I think is for all not just Sedgwick, it's all South Central Kansas. And so here we're looking at just want to make sure this is on the screen. Okay, so current month is 1,108, and then home sales this month. I'm sorry, this is for September. It was 900, so it shows the decrease, 915 sales. So sales are going down, and here these are the numbers we look at. We look at the median. This shows you from a year ago, 185,000, which a house was priced at this point. What it sold for is now selling at 210,000. Days on market, we're looking at 4 days on market. Sorry, that was a year ago. Now 6 days on market. Again, we look at median, not average, typically. And I'm curious to see, is it going to be 7, 8, 9 in this? And I should be getting the new statistics up later this week, and might be going over those in the next. And so let's kind of go down here. Again, some of the same information, a little bit more bold. Again, it's September. So last year, 1,108 houses were sold. This year, only 915. So down, probably because the prices jumped from 185 to 210, and now it's starting to slow from 4 days to 6 days. And then if you want to look at year to date, so, and let's get to some of the graph history of closed listings. This is always kind of fun to look at. So this kind of shows you this year compared to last year. Closed listings, 706 and 600. And so this one, it went down from last year in January. And then it went down again, and it's down from last year. So fewer sales from the prior exact same month, May versus May, and 1,200 to 1,000 this year, 1,150 to not below 1,000. Then you see closed listing 700. So it gives it's just an easy graph, easy way to. And in blue, you see closed listings. You see that just that it's at the bottom. Fewer house sales. Closed listings by price range. This is always fun to look at. You got the bulk here in the 2 to 250. It's probably the highest. You got it 1,500. So yeah, like 200, 250. Huge year. Of course, you got $6 million and up. It's always fun to look at. Here's the entire MLS. And this is the average price, but let's go to the median price. Again, this is what we typically, because it takes out the outliers. And you can see, whoa, this year, pricing has skyrocketed over the past 2 years. That was 2021. And then red was COVID year. So yeah, pricing, as you can see, is higher. And then these give you the specifics. Average days on market. Let's go to the median days on market. That's what we typically look at. And 6, 5, 3 through 3. See, this is where it was such little inventory right here. And we're getting back up. Look at this over here in 2020, 19, 17, 13. So things are just selling fast, and they're taking a little bit longer, and I bet it's going to be even longer now with the interest rates going so high. It's, again, people are starting to sit. So history of active listings. These are just some other charts. Again, this is for South Central Kansas. Active listings by month. This is a nice one. January, not as much. Starts jumping up in July, August, September, over 1,000. And hopefully we see that trajectory. So more listings are coming on the market, because this is just way too few houses for this market. And red is 2020. So blue active listings, well, started off low and then started creeping back up. But it shows you what's interesting here. It just shows you how it took a straight shot down in 2020, the year of COVID. Active listings by price range. It's always fun to see this. Million, there's 23, but only 102 houses for sale in the 200 to 250,000 month supply. Are they doing? I don't think they're doing the median on that one. So entire MLS. Let's go back to median price. So, anyways, that but that's this in this document. I'm going to try to be sharing this on a live stream weekly once I figure out what day and time I'm going to settle on. Not sure at this point, but that's the monthly information I get. So there you have it. If you have any questions, want any of this emailed to or sent to you, questions on what's going on in the market, happy to help. So hopefully this information helped a little bit. And in the future, again, I'll try to, once I settle on a time or a date for these live broadcasts, I'll try to schedule them a little bit out, and at some point, if the exact date and time, we'll just kind of go from there. So, all right, thanks for joining. Have a great day.